Hello everyone and welcome back to another session of Elden Ring PvP and another weapon showcase. Today we are taking a look at the Dragon Halberd. This is a weapon that is dropped by the Dragonkin Soldier boss that is located in Shifra River. This boss is a bit hidden. I actually missed it on my first playthrough. You access it by going through a warp gate. I'll have an image on screen showing the location of that gate. Overall, this is a really fun weapon to use. I had a great time with it. It gives me a bit of confidence in quality weapons when they can be as good as this one is. It really does shine on a quality build, so let's go ahead and start off with the basics, and then we'll talk about why this weapon is so good. First off, the weapon requires 22 strength and 10 dexterity to wield, and it weighs 10.5 units. The skill of the weapon is Spinning Slash, and those among you who have been paying attention will notice that it is a unique version of Spinning Slash. It will, at plus 10, have a physical base damage of 330, a B scaling in strength, and a C scaling in dexterity. And on the PvE side of things, this weapon does have a bit of bonus damage against dragons and ancient dragons, being 5 and 10%, or rather 10 and 5%. Respectively. 10% on regular, 5% on ancient. Now, this weapon is really fun to use. It has a great moveset. It's phenomenal at chasing people down. It has the ability to, of course, work with the Spear Talisman, and you all know I love that. And aside from that, it's just a really good moveset for dealing with a lot of situations. If your opponent is close to you, spam some R1s. If they're dodging to your side, throw an R2 in. Maybe unlock and do an R2 if they're trying to dodge behind you. That works out quite well. If your opponent is running away, chase them down. Use a running R1, and that'll get them if they're going in a straight line. Use a running R2 if they're running to the side. Overall, it's a great moveset, and good for a lot of instances. So that's a great thing with this weapon, and one of the biggest pros. Aside from that though, the damage on this thing is phenomenal. You saw earlier on I did hit someone with a counter for over 1,000 damage. That's always nice. And with that, the reason for it is the high base damage. The 330 base is pretty darn good. The scaling, though, is also extremely good. The BC scaling in strength and dex is phenomenal and will make this weapon shine on a quality build. That said, it will also do quite well on a strength build, and if you throw in 20 dexterity just to hit that lower damage cap on it, well, that never hurt anything either. So, overall, this weapon is good on a decent amount of builds, but of course will be best with quality where you get that full investment. And aside from that, the skill of the weapon is a unique version of Spinning Slash. So with that unique version of Spinning Slash, it does give you an extra hit in the combo, being the Lightning Strike at the very end. And then on top of that, it will buff your weapon for 20 seconds with lightning, and it will let you build up Frostbite. So, it adds a lot of pressure to your opponent, and can add a lot of damage really quickly. Overall, it's a very dangerous weapon because of the damage that it deals, even without being buffed. And then when you do buff it, that damage just goes through the roof. So, it is what it is. It's a weapon you need to be very careful when fighting against. You do not want to trade hits with this thing, and you definitely don't want to get hit by the Spinning Slash. The fact that the full combo of it does have 4 hits instead of 3 is not something to be undersold. That final swing and the Lightning Strike, if you hit with the swing, that Lightning Strike is guaranteed to hit. So, if you do hit with that, the damage on it will be quite high. And the nice thing with that Lightning Strike, even if the final swing is out of range, that Lightning Strike has a bit of range of its own. It isn't quite an area of effect, but it does have a slightly larger hitbox than you would expect. So, because of that, if your opponent is slightly out of range of the swing where you slam the weapon down, they may very well still be in range of that Lightning Strike. So that's a good thing as well. Now, of course, it's not all good. It is a quality weapon. And I would say that's probably the biggest con of the weapon. Yes, you can use it on a strength build, and yes, it will be fine, but you'll be better served by any of the other halberds, and given the fact that this is one of the shorter ones, well, you probably would want to use one of the other ones instead. That said, the other big con of this weapon is the range. This thing is quite short, and that's really a huge detriment of the weapon. It's not the shortest halberd, but it's far from being the longest. It's really not doing too hot in the length department, so it is what it is. That said, this is definitely a weapon you don't want to judge by its size. It has the ability to have such a good aggressive moveset, and the ability to chase people down. It's not to be undersold. So, be mindful when you're fighting it, and when you are using it, switch between being offensive and defensive. It will throw your opponent off. Throw in some backstep R1s. Use those as a way to really just keep your opponent on their toes and make it so it's a little harder to tell what you're doing next. That's my take on it, though. There are a couple of fights left in the video. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video and found it helpful in one way or another. If you have enjoyed this video, stick around to the end. The very last fight in the video, well, I feel like the win may very well have been stolen from me. I'll let you guys make your judgments on that. And if any of you have an explanation as far as why the game does what it does with what happens in that last fight, I would love to hear an explanation down in the comments. Either way, enjoy this cosplay, enjoy the last fight. Let me know what you think about this weapon, let me know what you think about the cosplay, let me know what you think about what happened in the last fight, or rather what happens in the last fight. And that's all I've got. So, thank you all again, and I'll see you next time.